for each table, so we'll move swiftly straight into that. We've searched far and wide to find an international speaker that is suitable to talk to you guys this afternoon, and we found him just outside Doncaster, which is where he actually lives. So I'm sure that his session is going to be incredibly powerful for you. He runs a hugely successful international business, so much so that clients and associates around the world have asked him to come and share his tools, tips and techniques with them. He's spoken in 77 countries around the world. He's a member of the $1 Million Round Table. He's spoken for them on several occasions in front of 15,000 people in Las Vegas. And this afternoon, I'm sure he's going to do an equally good job for us here at the East Midlands Radisson Blu, just outside Derby. So please give a massive welcome to Mr. Sandro Forte.
To you all, hopefully, oh, it is working, fantastic. Well done, George, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be with you. I'm going to start, if I may, rather unusually. I'm sure you've all been to conferences all over the place, and you normally hear speakers warm you up with something. Well, I'm going to start with a confession, if I may. My confession is this. I'm actually stood here feeling a little bit nervous. As Kevin says, I have been all around the world and worked for some amazing companies. And hopefully in the short time that I've got with you, I will share a number of great takeaways that you can use in your businesses and your lives. However, for the last 2 or 3 months, while this is all being put together, and brilliantly so, may I say, Kevin's been banging on at me almost every other day. Motivate, inspire, we want you to give them a day's worth of material in 45 minutes, and that's no mean feat. So I've been getting myself really wound up about this. So I'm stood in front of you today thinking, what the heck can I do in 45 minutes to motivate, inspire, and give you loads and loads of takeaways? So before I was introduced, and after that introduction, I can hardly wait to hear what I've got to say, I was thinking, how do I give my best to you this afternoon? I've come up with an idea, and I know this is the graveyard shift, and I know you're probably now thinking, I've done lunch and I just want to go home, but just bear with me if you would. I'd like you for a moment to find a friend, so ideally the person sitting next to you, and I'm going to give you some words to use, because I've been thinking about this. How do I motivate and inspire you? Well, the answer is, you start by motivating and inspiring me to give my best. Would that be okay? So just find a friend, I've thought about this, have a word, here are the words I'd like you to use. Is everyone ready? Is everyone ready? Yes. Great stuff. Okay, listen very carefully, because this is very important we get this right. Turn to the person sitting next to you and repeat these words. This guy is going to be amazing. Thank you so much. Now I'm ready to go. Okay, now just before I began today, I was passed a little note by one of your directors, and I need to read it out because I know you've done the housekeeping thing this morning, but this is an important safety notice that I've been asked to read to you. It says, the directors of Polypipe will not be held responsible for any injury caused by anyone falling off their chair during my standing ovation at the end. So I just want to make sure we're very clear. Okay, loads of stuff to do, very short space of time in which to do it. Very, very important word. Now, for those of you who have not heard me speak before, I have to let you into a little secret. My sessions are very interactive, so I will be asking you to take lots of notes and call out answers. And anyone who gets an answer correct, they're not difficult questions, will win a copy of my book. That is not a commercial plug, I'm not selling them. All of the money goes to charity anyway, but I will give a few away. So if you wish to volunteer, then all you've got to do is raise your hand, throw something at me, or just shout out, because the first person to call the correct answer wins a prize. And what we'll do, on trust, just come and collect it at the end and save me running about. Is that okay? Yeah. Yes or no? Yes. See, we call that wall-to-wall apathy. And it's true, I do live, by the way, just outside Doncaster in a place called Bawtry. Many of you will know it. I moved up there about 1.5 years ago. Used to live in Hull. Anyone come from Hull? One thing I can tell you about Hull is if you put hell in the sat-nav by mistake, you still get there. Anyway, so this word, this is a question for the ladies in the room. Question for ladies in the room. Let's say your significant other comes home one day with a bunch of flowers in a nice cellophane wrapper, say tulips, carnations, roses, let's say, and they look very, very beautiful, but they've got a little sticker on the bunch of flowers, and the little sticker says, Texaco, $2.99. What's the problem with that, ladies? What's the problem? Because they are, after all, a lovely bunch of flowers, almost identical to the ones you can get in your local village down the shop that charge you 30, 40 quid for the same flowers, okay? Because flowers don't know where they come from, they're all the same. But they're in a cellophane wrap and they've got $2.99 Texaco. What's the problem?
It's an afterthought.
Absolutely. First book winner of the day, quick round of applause. Afterthought. Okay. Here's the problem. You will never change that belief system, will you? Once you've got a belief system in life, you're never going to change it. So what I'd like to do is ask you all a question. And the question is quite simple. Please raise your hand if, when you were born, you could drive a car. Just raise your hand. How about swim? Talk? Walk? Okay, we need to start off with getting a common agreement on this one point because it's really, really important. You'll see why as we work through this presentation. It is my contention that every single person in this room today could walk, talk, swim, ride a bicycle, and when they were born was super successful at everything they chose to do. Now the reason I know that to be a fact is I've seen all of you walk into this room today, have a conversation. I haven't seen you drive a car, some better than others. I haven't seen you attempt to swim. What I do know is that two things happen to people in life. The first thing is they get shown how to do it. So typically parents would show us that by putting one foot in front of another and maintaining balance, we can move from one place to another in life more effectively than the way we were doing it before. Would that be fair? And then the next thing that happened was what? What had to happen next? Because what we were doing is we were being shown how to do something, to become more proficient at something, but something else had to happen for us to turn that innate ability, that natural ability, into a learned skill. Mistake? Who's the practice?
Charles.
Is the second book winner. Practice. Oh, I apologise if anyone else shouted. Next time, a little bit louder. So, practice. Not just today, tomorrow, but over and over and over again until you got it right. Would that be fair? And when you practice these things, when you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, the little voice on your shoulder, which is, after all, we'll explore this today, one of the things that stops you doing the things you want to do, it wasn't saying to you at the time, that seems like a lousy idea because you failed at it. You just picked yourself up, dusted yourself down and got on with it, didn't you? And now you've all got to a point in your lives where you do certain things without thinking. In 45 minutes, I'm going to try and give you some stuff that if you then apply it every single day, and I'll give you a technique to use right at the end, you can transition from wherever you are in your life and business right now to wherever you want to get to. Would that be a fair agenda?
Yeah.
Okay, great stuff. Change. The trouble is, with this great belief system that we're now going to try and develop, is that things get in the way. We call it life, generally, don't we? So, by way of a quick exercise, let's just all put our hands together in a fist. So, fingers and thumbs interlocked, and I'd like you now to look down and look at which one of your thumbs is on the top. It can only be one or the other. Unless, of course, you come from Hull. But one or the other will be on the top. It will either be the right thumb or the left thumb, and in a big group like this, it's going to be about 50-50. So raise your hand if you would, if the right thumb is on the top. Right thumb on the top, and left thumb on the top. Look at that, 50-50 more or less, maybe 55-45. Bigger groups, always 50-50. How did I know that? I knew it because when you did this for the very first time, you, like flipping a coin, you just put your hands together. No one told you how to do it, you just kind of had a go. And the way you ended up, your brain went, oh, that feels nice and comfortable, I'm going to do it like that, ever since. And ever since you've been doing it that way. Like folding your arms. You do that without thinking, don't you? Try doing it the other way around, it's really uncomfortable. Crossing your legs, another good example. And the same is true in life and business. So today, what we've got to try and do is get you away from the little voice on your shoulder that says, you know, don't have a conversation with a customer because the weather's bad or the economy's not good and all the other stuff that gets in the way. We need to make sure that we overcome the uncomfortable feeling of moving from here to here. So what I'm going to ask you all to do, group exercise after lunch, is go back to this position that you adopted at the beginning, that one that feels comfortable, right? And if you want to put it to the test, which some of you already have, I know, go to the other position, which is interlocking your fingers and thumbs the other way, and you kind of go, that seems really weird, doesn't it? Right, so here's what I'm going to do to make position B feel a little bit more comfortable, just to prove the point. So back to position A, that's the one you adopted first time around, and all we're going to do for about 20 seconds, because time is limited, is I'd like you simply to move backwards and forwards from position A to position B, keeping the palms of your hands together, not like that, okay? So just position A to position B, within a matter of seconds, your hands will start to ache, but that's okay if you can just keep going for 20 more seconds. When I say stop, all I want everyone to do is just to go to position number 2. Is that okay? Yes or no?
Yes.
Wall-to-wall apathy. Right. Okay. So when we're ready, stop. Straight to position number 2. Okay? That was the uncomfortable position before. Simple, simple question. More or less comfortable than the first time?
More.
A fraction, right? Not significantly, but a fraction. Now just imagine if you could do this, something like this, by way of an example, every single day. We call it the 10% principle. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Right. Time for some questions. If you come up with the answer to the next question, you will win a book and a £20 note. I've even produced my own £20 notes that kind of act as a bookmark. So the first smart Alec, or whatever the Alice, in the room to call out the answer to the question I would like the answer for wins the prize. Okay, now I'm going to give you some examples of really successful businesses.